friends, today we are going to start second chapter of Business Statistics, BCom third semester, collection, classification and tabulation of data. So let's start the chapter. In this unit we are going to learn about these topics: introduction, meaning of primary and secondary data, method of collection of data, sources of secondary data, precautions in using secondary data, classification and tabulation of data, classification according to variables, frequency distribution, class limit, class interval, midpoint, class magnitude, range, inclusive frequency distribution, exclusive frequency distribution. So firstly, let's know about introduction of statistics. Introduction. The work of statistics begins with collection of numerical data, collection of data for any investigation or inquiry, or generally unorganized, and there is a need for organization for those for use or in statistical tool. The task of arranging the data in a systematic manner can be accomplished only by the method of classification and presentation of data. The word data literally means information or fact, which are used for further statistical technique. Statistical data can be categorized as primary and secondary data. Primary data, it refers to those data which are collected for the first time by the investigator. It is generally collected by the individual or an organization from the actual field of inquiry. For example, Reserve Bank of India Bulletin Monthly issued by RBI. Secondary data. Secondary data of those data which are previously collected and processed by someone else. For example, the Statistical Abstract of India Annual General. Methods of collection of primary data. Number 1, direct personal investigation. Number 2, indirect oral investigation. Number 3, by local report. Number 4, questionnaire method. Indirect personal investigation. Indirect personal investigation. In this, the investor collects data directly from the person concerned. This method is used in small size survey confined to a small locality. Merits. It gives exact information. Its information is generally reliable. Demerits. Suffers from lack of time, money and labor. Suitable for large scale studies. Indirect oral investigation. In this method, a third party is contracted who is supposed to know the necessary detail about the person for whom the inquiry is made. Such method is suitable for inquiry committee appointed by the state or central government. Merits. It required less money. It is suitable for extensive investigation. Demerits. It may give biased result. By local report. In this method, the investigator appoints local agents to collect relevant information. Newspaper agencies generally adopted this method. Merits. This method is cheap and provided it approximate a good result. It is useful for extensive inquiries. Demerits. Personal bias may enter, hence not highly accurate. The data supplied is not compatible. Questionnaire method. It is one of the most popular method. In this method, a list of questions pertaining to inquiry sent to information mean with a request to answer the question and return it. This method nowadays is widely used in various economic and business survey. Merits. This method is economical. It is more authentic. Demerits, which can only be circulated to literate persons. No investigator can't change the questionnaire once sent. Features of good questionnaire. Should be simple and short, MCQ or yes or no type. Must proceed logical sequence starting from easy to tough. May not hit sentiment of the informants. Should be avoided. The unit must be mentioned precisely. Merits. It can be adopted if the respondents are illiterate. Useful for extensive inquiry. Demerits. This method is very expensive. respondents sometimes unwilling to give answer. Sources of secondary data: technical and trade journals, annual report of banks, newspaper and periodicals, official publication of government. Precautions in using secondary data: the reliability of data, the suitability of data, adequacy of data. Classification and tabulation of data. In order to give proper shape, it should be arranged and classified according to its characteristics. Thus, the process of arranging data in groups or classes according to the characteristics is called classification of data. Functions of classification. PET condenses the data from which is readily comparable. It facilitates comparison between variables. Classifications helps to study the relationship between two. It has statistical treatment of data. Requisites of good classification: it should be unambitious and flexible, should be manually exclusive and stable. Classification should be homogeneous and exhaustive. Classification according to variables. Variables are variety, means the characteristics that vary from one item to another item. Variables or variety should be expressed in numerical terms. Examples of such variables are age, height, income, etc. Number 1. Univariate distribution means where there is only one variable, say for example age. Bivariate distribution: if a frequency distribution shows two distribution, say for example age in marks obtained by students, is called bivariate distribution. Frequency distribution. Frequency distribution are of two types: discrete variables, variables which can be isolated, will use or specific values. A discrete frequency distribution may be with class interval or without class interval. For example, number of children in a family. Number 2. Continuous or group 2 variable is capable of assuming any variable with insert in range or interval. For example, age of student 10 to 20, 20 to 30, etc. Class limit. Every class for class interval has two limits. These are: number 1 upper class, number 2 lower class. Class interval. Class interval is the difference between upper limit minus lower limit of class. Symbolically, it is denoted as I equals to L2 minus L1. Mid value of class interval or midpoint. Midpoint is the arithmetic mean of upper and lower value of same class divided by 2. MV equals to L2 minus L1 upon 2. That is, mid value equals to lower limit minus lower 1 upon 2. Class magnitude. The class magnitude of a class interval is the difference between upper limit of a class and lower limit of a class boundary. Range. The difference between largest and smallest number in a given series is called range. Inclusive frequency distribution. In inclusive distribution, the upper limit L2 is included and immediate next number is taken as the lower limit of the next class interval. Exclusive frequency distribution. In exclusive series, the upper limit L2 of a class is excluded and it is taken as the